Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at transformations of functions. Your last assignment on Delta Math was kind of an introduction to this, called a discovery assignment, in which you had to play around with those equations and try to get it to match the given transformation. So hopefully you're able to figure some of those out. Today we're going to go a little bit more in depth on exactly how you calculate those, but hopefully this is mostly review that you figured this out some on your own through that discovery was the goal. So I've got two questions for you for the warm-up question here. All right, the first question, what does this -1 do to the function? You could figure this out on your calculator. You could just sort of mess around with it a little bit and leave off this part if you wanted to. Just leave off this part, plug it in your calculator, and see what happens to the function. What that -1 there does is it moves the function right 1. So for instance, what you could do, if you want to do this in your calculator, mess around with this, you could put in y1, you could put the parent function, which is x cubed. That function looks something like this. And then in y2, what you could do is you could put in x minus 1 cubed. So we said that's inside the parentheses. And what will happen is it will be the same function. It will just be moved over like this. So that -1 moves it to the right one. The second question, is what does that +4 do? So you could actually take the same approach. You could do in y1, you could do the parent function x cubed. And in y2, you could just put in x cubed plus 4 and see what happens. And what's going to happen is this parent function is going to be moved up 4 spaces. So it looks something like that. So this one moves the function up 4. So taking these together, we're moving up 4 and right 1, and then you end up with, something that looks like that. All right. So the first transformation we're going to talk about today is translations. The next video we'll talk about stretches and compressions and possibly reflections as well. So just 2 quick slides and then we'll get into some problems. This is just the mathematical notation for a vertical shift. Vertical means either up or down. So if we have a number on the outside, this is plus k. K just represents a constant. So we have the function plus k on the outside. Just think outside for the vertical shift. Numbers on the outside. We're going to shift it up if it's positive, and we're going to shift it down if it's negative. So if it's, example, x squared plus 2, well, that would be up 2. If it is, so it's f of x. If it was f of x equals the square root of x minus 3, well, that would be down 3. You would just take the parent function and then move it down 3. Okay, and the other type of a translation is called a horizontal shift. So think of this as inside the function or inside the parentheses. So the thing that's different on this is we place the k inside there instead of having it on outside the parentheses. So if it is inside, just remember also that it is the opposite. Inside is opposite. Because you would think a plus k would be moving to the right because that's the positive x direction. It's actually the opposite of what you think. Plus k on the inside is actually left k units, and minus on the inside is right k units. So 2 quick examples. Let's say we have f of x equals the absolute value of x plus 4. So the parent function is the absolute value of x. That plus 4 is actually going to move it to the left 4 units. Again, it's opposite of what you think. And let's say we have x minus 3 cubed. Well, that is going to move it to the right 3 units. So these 2 principles, we're going to go ahead and apply to some problems on Delta Math. Go ahead and take a look at that. So you have two levels of problems. The first level is just going to be one translation. So we're given a function, the square root of x. You can see this is the parent function graphed here. And we have some dots we can click and drag. For this activity, you don't want to touch the blue ones. Those are going to move the points, which you don't want to do at this point. Just leave the blue ones alone. The only one you're going to touch is this green one. That's the one that allows you to translate it. So first thing you want to do is figure out what we're supposed to be translated on this function. This is a -4. Notice this is on the outside. It is not inside of the square root. So outside means it's going to be down 4. So all we're going to do is click that green point. It was at 0, so we're just going to move it down to -4. So it has shifted the function down 4. Submit. And boom, there we go. Okay, this next one, this wasn't one of the parent functions we necessarily learned. This is called the base exponential function, 2 to the x. It doesn't really matter that you know that. The big thing is we're going to focus on is that +2 on the outside. So it's outside, which means it's going to be up 2. So all we're going to do is click this green one, move it up 2 spaces. So every point gets shifted up 2. And then submit that. Okay, this one is a, oops. This one is a plus on the outside. Well, let's try to do an inside one here. There we go. All right. So this one has a minus on the inside. So this is inside, that's going to mean left or right. And remember, they're opposite on the inside. This is a -2, which is going to be right 2. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to click the green dot and move it right 2 spaces. Shift the whole function right by 2. There we go. So those are pretty easy. Again, this one would be right by 5. So you just click and move right 5. Let's go ahead and look at the other problem set. And this one puts the two of them together. So we have both a vertical and a horizontal translation. So we're going to figure out two things here. So the square root function, we've got a -1 inside. That's going to tell us to move right 1. And we got a +2 on the outside, so that's going to tell us up 2. So we're going to click our green one, move it right 1 spot here, and then we're going to move it up 2. Boom. And that's all there is to it. So this is a cube root function. All we're going to do is, this is a +5, so that's going to be a left 5. It's on the inside. And -3 means it's going to be down 3. So click that green one. Again, ignore the blue ones for today's. Move it left 5 to -5, and then down 3 to -3. And this is shifting the whole function left 5, down 3. All right, that's all there is to it, guys. Hopefully you got a good handle on that. And again, we will introduce the other transformations in the next video.